Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, Edwin Diaz. These were all players that were integral pieces of the Mets' 2024 run to the NLCS, and yet, as it stands today, none of them are going to be on the 2026 team. So far, they've been replaced by Devin Williams and Marcus Semien, two players that, while I do think will be productive for them, are pretty obvious downgrades relatively speaking. So, today, I wanted to ask the question, what the hell are the Mets doing, and what do they need to do before opening day to have a competitive chance at making a deep playoff run? GM David Stern said earlier this offseason what at least their stated goal is. They want to get better at run prevention, which involves better defense and better pitching. So far, they've pretty much only added those two aforementioned pieces to the puzzle. We'll start with Semien. He is a pretty big upgrade with the glove over the player that took the majority of innings at that position in Jeff McNeil last year, who was about average, while Marcus is a perennial Gold Glove candidate. Will he hit well enough to justify his $25 million a year price tag for the next 3 seasons? I guess that's the question, but you can't argue he does fit the mold in what Stern's outlined. So too does Williams, who despite a 2025 that featured a .479 ERA, still has a career mark of 2.45, with a K per 9 in the same range as Diaz, at 14.1, and an identical FIP to his ERA. Will he be as good as Edwin was last year? Honestly, probably not, but I don't think the difference will be as big as some people are making it out to be. Williams is almost certainly more like the guy who put up a 1.93 ERA back in 2022 than the unmitigated disaster he was at times last year. So if you're following me, these two moves make the team better, at least in accordance to what Stern's laid out. However, the cupboard is still pretty sparse. Where do they go from here? Well, according to recent reports, they are very much in on Kyle Tucker, who, while he certainly isn't a Gold Glove right fielder or anything at this point, is still at least average, something that Juan Soto last year 100% was not. This would allow them, if they indeed manage to sign him, to either move Soto to first base, where I do think he would actually perform relatively well, or DH, where he projects to play in the future anyway. This is not even considering the value that it would add to a lineup that currently looks like this, desperately needing another truly productive player. There really isn't a world where they shouldn't add at least one more quality addition to the outfield and or infield on top of this. However, this isn't even the main area of concern in my opinion. No, that would have to be their pitching layout, which currently looks like this. Of all those hurlers listed, there literally is only 6 that managed to pitch over 60 MLB innings last year, including starters, and of those 6, only 3 had an ERA below 4. I don't even know how many different pieces you would need to stabilize this group, especially because, again, they're trying to go with a defense pitching first approach with a personnel that would look more at home on a team like the Rays than the Mets. And yeah, they definitely do have some arms in the minor leagues, but those guys are all relatively unproven. And even if they manage to acquire somebody like Tarik Skubal, I don't think that will come close to solving their problems. They need way more than just that. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I do understand right now why New York fans are panicking a little bit. They'll need to sign or acquire, I would say, at minimum 3 to 5 guys. And that's an awful lot of contract ink that has to dry before spring training. From here, I guess all we can do is see how the rest of the offseason plays out, and if the Mets actually will be poised to be a better team in 2026 than they were in 2025.
Alright everybody, if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching, and if you did, consider checking out any of these other videos on your screen right now for other content just like this. Also, if you ever see anything you'd like to see me detail in the video, feel free to reach out to my email, basebpoet@gmail.com, and if I end up using your idea, I'll give you a shout out. Thanks for watching, have a great rest of your day.